Hi everybody, my name is Sprinkle Theory and I want to welcome you back to Games Done Quick's Juneteenth Marathon event, our annual event celebrating Black independence. We've had a weekend jam-packed of Black speedrunners and talent, and it's been awesome, and I'm your host this evening. So before we get started for our next run and continue on the Sonic block, if you missed any of the runs this weekend or any of the runs from other events, HotFix shows, want to rewatch another run, make sure to head to youtube.com/gamesdonequick to see the VODs. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe the videos and make sure you come to Twitch to watch our live content, weeknights 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm being told that we're ready for our next run, so without further ado, we have Sonic Adventure 2 Battle Dark Story Race versus Melters and the Superior. Take it away.
Uh-oh. Are we swapped over? Chat, blink twice if we're live.
Yes, let us know if we are live.
So try to make sure we didn't lose anything at the last moment. Otherwise, I could kind of get us kicked off a little bit if there's things that need to be addressed behind the scenes. Hello everyone. Welcome on in. We're doing the Sonic Adventure 2 Sonic Adventure 2 Battle Dark Race. It's me for a third time if you're not sick of me. Pleasantly Twisted. I really like Sonic the Hedgehog.
And I'm Mr. Darkice. I will be here commentating with my partner, PT.
And we have two fantastic runners that are waiting to get things kicked off because they're itching to go to combat to get to the end of the dark story as fast as they freaking can. We've got Melters on one side versus the Superior on the other side. These dudes are ready for action. I can feel it.
That's right.
It's in the air.
That's right.
It's electric. I am ready to see some fast AF speed running on the dark side. But a couple of quick things. I just want to make it clear to everybody. Shadow is the cooler hedgehog, and I won't be taking questions at this time. And the OST is lots of bangers. There's lots of bangers, unless it's the Robotnik level. Feel free to mute at that point, because those are irritating.
I actually do agree. A lot of the Dark Story OSTs are actually pretty much of a banger. It's too bad that they sometimes get overshadowed by the hero story because it's more biased, but we're already talking about hero story. We are here for Dark Story, and we're here for the Dark Story race. So I hope everyone is ready because this is probably going to be one of the best races that you're ever going to see between Melter and the Superior. I cannot wait for this race. This is really going to be interesting to see.
Alrighty, so I'm watching cameras. It looks like Melters is hyped. He's got the smiles. He's ready to go. Superior is just like, girl, shut up. I'm ready to race. So let's do a quick countdown. In
right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
And let's start.
Alrighty, so just for everyone to know, I'm going to be super excited on this run because this is one of my all-time favorite Sonic the Hedgehog games, just in general. And the Robotnik levels are going to be really straightforward. You're going to see them make some really precise movement through here. And the entire premise of the Robotnik levels is that they have to shoot stuff with their missiles and just kind of, it's clunky, it's weird, but it's what they went with. We're all just going to go with it.
That's right.
Oh, go ahead, Dark Eyes.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's right. When it comes to the Iron Gates, this level is basically straightforward. Now, I'm watching on Superior stream. What he's doing is just basically delaying time because when you're going down the stage right here in this machine, it takes a pretty long time. So he's just eating up time until he gets to a certain part. So before it reaches the gate.
And you're also going to hear the runners hitting their buttons a lot to push missiles because the intention is that they want them to scan all the items at once in order to hit every single target. That takes 9,074 years, so they're going to spam the button instead because that goes faster overall.
Exactly.
Now we have a couple of sections that are going to be coming up that they're going to purposely do some things like skip the checkpoint posts, and there's a reason for that. The checkpoint posts in Sonic Adventure 2, depending on your rings and scores, will actually give you designated items around that. So they're killing a little bit of time to get some stuff changed up, maybe just kind of shooting some boxes, pretending they're going to go see Chow Island, which is sad because they're not going to. And when they run through here, they're going to actually get some speed shoes, which is going to allow them to just take off really fast. That elevator is going to be closer to the bottom. And then they'll just keep on moving like they never had to take the elevator even for a little bit.
Sorry, with the speed shoes, it allows them to go a little bit more faster than normal. So that literally saves them a couple of seconds compared to just not using the speed shoes and just going through the level that they normally do. And they're actually coming up to the end. Now, what they're going to do basically here is they're going to shoot underneath the missile, and you can basically lock onto it, and that giant missile will shoot down all the gates, which will allow them to finish the first level.
And right now we're running a little close to everything, so it's going to be a tight race today, y'all. I hope y'all are ready to be on the edge of your seat because it's going to be a clean one. It's going to be a clean one. I'm really excited about it. So
I love a tight race.
we do love a tight race. Now, we unfortunately can't skip this screen with the emblems at the end here, so we're going to see it every time they get an emblem. When you clear a level, by default, you will get an emblem, and then that's later for in-game stuff that you can start looking at more emblems. But now we have our first boss fight with Hotshot. Darkice, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so basically Hotshot is just a very simple boss. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to hit the cockpit of the boss, and as you see, if it's blinking red, it means you can't really hit it as much anymore. It's in iframes, which means you can't hit it. And again, it's just a really simple fight. And if you see on the last hit on Superior's screen, he waited just for a bit before hitting the boss, because if you hit Hotshot before he takes off, he kind of goes into like this I can't put the right words for it. He kind of like just falls over, which eats up a little bit more time. But enough about that. We're on Dry Lagoon now, which is probably one of the hardest Emerald stages, even though it's like a beginner stage.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what they're doing here. So you saw Superior restart a couple of times, and the reason that he's restarting is because when he goes up to that monitor, they give hints to let you know where the emerald pieces are. And he's seeing from that first hint that the layout is going to be garbage, so rather than waste time on it, he's just going to re-roll. Now, the unfortunate thing with restarting is that does take an extra life. So once he's down to 1 life, he just has to deal with whatever they give. But it looks like it gave him an excellent spread, and he has all 3 pieces and stayed ahead of the curve, making sure that he's making meltrs fight for that #1 spot. So that entire setup for all the Rouge levels, that's what you're going to have to do, is find 3 pieces, and they're always going to be scattered in a different orientation. You might see a couple of intentional deaths or restarts on there to get a better spread for those emerald pieces.
Right, and on Superior stream for I was watching, actually Superior actually got a free piece when he was climbing up that pillar as well.
And that's always nice too. Sometimes you just know where some of the placements might be. You might have one. There's also a nice early one that's like right behind a bush, and that's really easy to grab. We always love those.
Next we're doing Sand Ocean, and in my opinion, it's actually one of the hardest Dr. Eggman levels, because if you fall into the sand, you just automatically die. And the quickest way just to deal with it is just to basically reset, unless you hit a certain checkpoint. But this is actually a really hard and technical level, so they have to play perfect. They have to reach certain cycles so they won't miss it. And right now, Superior's like a little bit, just a couple of seconds behind Meltzer, but it's kind of close and close right now between the two of them. And this is one of the cycles that, sorry about that, this is one of the cycles actually coming up right now. As you can see, he actually skipped some of the platforms.
And another thing I wanted to highlight about this level, it has one of the more annoying aspects that you have to deal with, which is in the Robotnik levels, sometimes your actual pathing will be blocked until you blow up certain things. So you're seeing them trying to grab their targets early on so that they don't have to stop moving in order to go forward and keep that momentum of movement in the level. Uh-oh, we got a sandfall.
Oh, Meltzer
got a sandfall.
Which means Superior's put Superior in ahead now. And also, there's a skip I want to talk about that Meltzer and Superior both did agree that they didn't want to go for. It's called Sandwalking. So basically, Sandwalking is basically at the beginning of the level. You basically fall into the sand, but you also hit an enemy or a balloon, and you basically just hover off from the sand, and you can use that to skip a certain part or get to a certain part of the stage, which gives you the Mystic Melody, which allows you to skip basically 70% or 80% of the level, but they decided to go for it this time.
Instead, it looks like we're going with the routing of exploiting some damage boosting to go through platforms, go through traps, and say, we could platform, but this is a Sonic game. We're here to go fast. So we're not going to platform. We're going to take the L, and we're going to keep moving.
Superior finishing with a 151. That's actually a really, really good time.
Yeah, I was like, that's clean. That was clean. So now we're getting to the levels that everyone is waiting for because, you know, this is a Sonic game. So we're here for hedgehogs that go fast. And now we're getting our levels of hedgehogs going fast. And this level is going to be all you can handle spin dashing to get some momentum, maintaining our momentum, and then some precision jumping to make sure that we don't have to deal with this level to the utmost degree. We're also going to see a lot of clipping through and then maybe even a little bit of wall pushing to make sure that we just keep things going. But Darkice, can you talk about some of the jumps and stuff that they're going to make here? Because they're terrifying and I don't know how to talk about those.
Yeah, so there's basically a couple of jumps that they're going for. Like Superior's going to go for right now. He's basically going to skip going down basically that building that you can see right there. He's going to skip that, which basically saves a lot of time because you basically just go down there and you hit some springs, then you get like a capsule. I think like a reflector or some items for. Oh, he actually went for a trigger as you saw right there. If you guys saw, Shadow went backwards, then he hit a box which contains a spring in there. And he basically skipped through some of the cycles right there. And he's going for another skip. There's a lot going on right now, so I'm trying to keep up.
No, that's the whole thing with the Sonic runs in general, is that you have to talk fast because we're here to go fast. And that's like not even a joke or a game. And a lot of the skips that you're going to see on the Shadow levels in particular is going to be a lot of this same energy. Again, constant spin dashing to make sure that we maintain that momentum. We're also going through traps without having to burn through different dashes and techniques. And we are actively, these are very, very tight paths that we see that are in action here. Because we're going a certain direction, we're going certain ways, we're skipping certain areas, and we are just going through here, just literally bullying the level, if I'm being really honest. Because there's whole segments that we're supposed to do with like puzzles and breaking certain boxes. And both of these runners are just like counterpoint. But what if I just ran?
Exactly. And Superior finishes as one of 146, and Superior, I think meltrs is about to finish out this level himself, right? He's close to the end, actually.
Yeah, I was like, he's close to the end. He just got through his second skip, I want to say. I just realized that was a pole grab there. That's something that wasn't mentioned before. Oh, well, hold on a second.
Oh, he went for the, I think it's called, it's called a gap skip or something like that. I think he told me about that. But yes, he basically skipped through most of the sections that Superior didn't really do. I guess he didn't want to risk it. But Meltzer decided to go for it because he's like, all right, you know what? I'm already far behind. Let's go for the skip and show off some skips that we have never seen in the Dark Story run before.
Listen, both of these runners right now are kind of running on all cylinders. He might be a little behind, but that right there, that's cracked behavior. I'm just throwing it out there, chat. So now we are on the Rouge levels. And again, it's the spelunking level. You have to find 3 pieces before you can continue. Now, you go ahead.
Sorry. However, there is a gimmick to this level. As you saw on Superior stream, there's actually these robots that are actually going around in the room. And you see the light flashing green. It's basically securing the area, and if it sees a Rouge, it basically turns red and it tries to shoot at Rouge. But if you go into the shadows, it basically pretends like it didn't see you.
Ooh, we got a nice spread for the keys on Superior's screen too. And everyone saw that he had a moment where he stopped and it showed off like a little thing that was happening. He picked up an item called the Pick Nails that allows him on Rouge to be able to dig underground and dig into walls. And that's where you're going to see a lot of other keys and emerald pieces coming in. And you saw here too, we're now to the point where we're going to have rotating pieces. We're going to have cycling pieces. They're going to start putting them in really uncomfy places. And I saw as well that Superior took a quick kind of reset/death because the other 2 keys at the time is just like, no, that's not it. And we see meltrs doing the same thing where he got his key, said, nope, I'm not dealing with the rest of this. Let's go ahead and get a reset.
Yep, Death Resets plays a really big part now in Sonic Adventure 2 speedruns, now that we are using IGT time instead of RTA time. So if you have enough lives, we can actually abuse it to the point where we can try to get the best pieces as possible instead of just going over the pieces that we have and just and go for like a really bad time.
So in this Robotnik level, it's more the same. The Robotnik levels are all pretty boring, but this is a really big time save here. You're supposed to grab onto a latch hook and actually float down gradually. Both of the runners are going to just look at that and say, but what if we just jump? And they're going to jump down. And then when we go through this level, we're going to pick up an item for Robotnik that's going to allow him to hover across different paths and areas. And that's going to be a really critical item for a good chunk of the Robotnik runs for the rest of the actual race. because what you're going to see from that point is the runners are going to start pause buffering. And when they pause buffer, you see how we're double jumping to get to the item? That's going to be the last time that they're going to actually purposely double jump, because now they're going to use the hover to trick the game into thinking that they jumped beforehand, and then use it to hover upwards over things that will require a double jump like you just saw here. Ideally, when you have the hover, they want you to use it and you gradually float downwards. This is a big ordeal just because now you don't have to do the jump and then hope that you get momentum, forcing the momentum up.
Yep. There's two ways of doing the hover. There's the pause hover, which will allow you to get momentum. If you actually double press A as quick as you can get enough momentum by just doing that as well. Superior just clearing through this level, no problem. He got the speed shoes, but however, the speed shoes won't matter in this part because you got it's our auto scrolling, the auto scrolling section. So unfortunately, the speedrun shoes won't be able to help him on this part at all.
It's the way that, as much as I love Sonic games, every time they put locked platforming, I'm just like, okay, Sega, but why? Something else I want to point out with Melter's screen that we just saw as well is that you saw him run into the banister and then it continued to move upwards and put him over it. That's actually a little bit more of a precision placement than people realize, because if you fly into those and it's not at the right location, it'll automatically stop you and then you'll just float down to your doom. So they're actually pushing into those at just the right spot so that it pushes them over it and they can continue with their traversal. Really, really good stuff. It's really, really interesting stuff. But as someone who loves Sonic Adventure 2, one of the reasons I love it is because, truth be told, the game is kind of jank.
It's
the jank
janky.
Is the love.
It's
the jank is the
janky,
love.
but it's a fun janky game.
Yes.
That's why we keep coming back to it.
Yes, exactly. It's some of the best jank I think I have in some of my Steam library, and I have it on my GameCube too, where you can do mods and stuff. But
speaking of GameCube, I want to point out to something a lot of people don't know, because some people are new to running the game on the PC version. So how you mentioned earlier you could not skip the emblems because it's unskippable. Well, on the GameCube version, it actually is skippable. So there is like a soft reset input that you could do on the GameCube, and you can actually skip the emblems by doing that. It's not really helpful on some of the levels, but it will allow you to skip that emblem section if you don't want to look at that. But it's only on the GameCube version, if I remember.
Okay. I have to double check that because I played the Steam one so much as of recently, and I have the GameCube one, but it's been years since I've had it hooked up. But on to the runners. We are now on another Robotnik level. You see that they love to get their Robotnik levels out early, and you're going to see in this particular world a lot of showcasing of how we're going to use that hover boosting to get some height and just float over to other places as opposed to having to double jump. And I actually noticed... Go ahead.
Sorry, my apologies. This is actually one of the better Eggman levels to practice speedrunning and mastering your movements, because the level's not like really tedious or anything, or it's not really straight. There's like a lot of freedom that you do to get your practice on.
We just saw we had a side kind of glide there. Another thing that runners are going to be dealing with in this run is the camera does hate you. The camera, as always, continues to be the final boss. You saw Superior actually float off to the side because he knew that platform was over there, and the camera will actively just refuse to turn. So you just have to know where you're floating to in that particular instance.
Yeah, once you get to a certain direction, if you hold like the LR, the camera will turn. But again, it depends on where you are at in the level, because sometimes it will turn, sometimes it will just stay hard locked for some odd reason.
That was too close.
Also, you'll get the ranks at the end of every single one of your levels. Fun facts about the emblem system in Sonic Adventure 2. You get an emblem for every time you complete a level, and then after you've beaten the story, you'll get access to the map mode, and that'll give you emblems for different missions on the levels. But then there's even more evil, because there's a bonus emblem for getting all A rank across the missions. And some of these missions get serious. I'm talking about that because it's more interesting than the Tails fight, where you just kind of trick the AI into standing in front of you and you literally just unload on it.
Yeah, so basically, let's talk over the missions real quick since Meltzer is about to start the Tails 2 fight. So mission 2 is basically you collect 100 rings. Mission 3 is collect the challenge. Except for the routes part, you have to not hit the wall, I think. Mission 4 is basically you got to go faster because you have a shorter time limit. And Mission 5 is basically hard mode, where they basically put more obstacles and other stuff in your way. But in the routes where Rouge and Tails is in the car, is basically they replace it with don't hit the cars and don't hit the walls.
And speaking of hard mode emblems, another thing that's really unique about the hard mode emblems is when you get to your Rouge and Knuckles levels, that's the only time that the 3 pieces that you need to find are going to be in static locations.
Yes.
Anytime that you're playing it otherwise, it's going to be a random location. Oh, wonderful placement too for that emerald. Getting some good luck on these emerald pools, by the way.
Yeah, Superior having such strong RNG on this stage, because this stage could be...
Yeah,
this stage could be a total crap sometimes.
Yeah, well, and especially considering as you progress through the Rouge levels, what you'll find is that they get larger and they also specifically get more vertical. Now, Melters isn't getting bad luck either. It looks like we got a really strong first emerald for Melters out the box as well. But the hard mode is the only time that they're ever going to be static. So you have to have really, really strong knowledge of where these pieces can be when you're playing the Rouge levels.
And you have to hope you don't get one of the pieces inside the safe. And if you get it in the wrong safe, that's going to also eat up a lot of your time as well.
So now we have another boss that this is similar to the boss that we did with Shadow, just the Rouge edition, and it flies. And what the runners are going to do here is they're just going to get set up at a higher trajectory, so on top of a box, or they'll use her dash up like you just saw to get some hits in. And these bosses are going to take 4 hits and then they're going to fly away because they are tired of getting beat up by a chick with really bad high heels. And by bad, I mean good. I mean, they're actually clean.
One thing I want to point out too, if you saw on Superior scene, he was standing behind the flying dog. The reason why he was Superior was doing that is because he wanted to make sure Flying Dog doesn't fly around and stay in that same position, so that way it could actually save a lot of time. Because when he flies around, it eats up actually a lot more time.
So I regret to inform everyone, the Rouge level that we just finished is one of my favorite tracks, and then the drum and bass track on this level for Shadow is also one of my favorite tracks. You're gonna see a lot of really crispy, smooth, but really, really tight movement to get around obstacles because they want you to roll under so many things in this level. And again, the runners are going to be like, we are not here to do technical stuff. We're not gymnasts. We're runners. We're runners and we're going to run. So we're going around springs. We're going around obstacles. We're going around little like platforms that make you want to go underneath stuff. We're jumping over these different little metal bits that will smash you. We just don't have time for any of it. We just want to go. And that's what you're going to see in both iterations of this. And you can see constant spin dashing, constant movement. I believe we're also going to get like a cute wall run here in just a second. We're going to go ahead and kill a guy, do some other stuff. And yep, this is your wall run. We don't have time for ramps. We're just going to go ahead and go up. Sorry, this is like one of my favorite levels under the sun. This track is such a banger. It is such a banger. And it's such a cool level. Those rings that you just saw, that's Superior Pass, you're supposed to grab those with a light dash. Go ahead, Dark Ice. I'm going to shut up for a second.
No, sorry. It's I just wanted to apologize. My internet was being a bit dumb for a bit, but yes, this is actually a really good stage. This is actually a really fun stage. Hey, Chad, let me ask you guys a question. Which stage you actually find more fun to play casually or speedrun it? White Jungle or Green Forest? I want to hear your guys' reasons in the chat.
It's White Jungle every time. Sorry, I'm not chat. I have passion about White Jungle because I remember the first time I saw that level and the beat came on, I was like, we got to let this 10-minute timer run out. This goes too hard. This shouldn't go this hard. Why? Why is it? Yeah.
You sit there and listen to the music?
I do. I will let them die so I can listen to music. I don't care.
I love it.
And here comes one of the most iconic scenes in Sonic Adventure 2.
I found you, Faker.
I think you're the fake hedgehog around here.
My favorite thing about this entire scene is that they're like Faker, and I remember even being young looking at this and I'm like, y'all don't look nothing alike though. What do you mean? That looks like Sonic. Bam, that hedgehog is entirely black.
You gotta give credit to the voice actors because it wasn't the way they put their passion into this scene. This cutscene would have been so iconic.
Oh, so let's talk about this fight that just happened real fast. So the way that this fight goes, if you've played this casually, it's kind of a nuisance because of the fact that if you jump, Sonic will jump back. And then it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And so what you do is you let Sonic run up on you and then you jump when he's really close and then it'll count it as a hit.
Right.
And then you just kind of trick the AI into thinking that that's okay. And you hit him 3 times instead of 4, ironically. So now we've got the Rouge race, and it's not even really a race. She's just speeding really fast. And what we're going to see here is they're going to try and maintain sitting in a certain location of the entire race until they hit balloons that give them a boost. And when those balloons give them a boost, they're going to use those to boost through these much more windy areas that are going to require you to otherwise slow down to more precisely turn.
Now with Rouge's Route 280 is a little bit more, I guess, harder compared to Tails' Route 101, because in Rouge's stage there's more gaps or places to fall. The turns are more tighter compared to Tails' stage. So this is basically just a harder Route 101.
Hang on, I'm going to sit here. I'm reading some chat because now people are talking about stuff in Sonic Frontiers, and we're going to save that for another stream. Find you a black speedrunner that does Sonic Frontiers, and I will gladly come and commentate that too. But yeah, there's not really a whole lot to talk about on this particular map because, like, there you have an open gap where you could just drive straight off into the abyss. But otherwise, yeah, it's a
just a straightforward. Yep, just a straightforward stage, and you also have the boost again that allows you to go fast. Basically, just another speed shoes, but with cars.
Like, this is, chat, to give you a context of how much this is like going to be irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. My notes for commentating this level literally reads as follows: I may or may not have forgot there was a racing segment. Like, I was watching videos to get my notes up, to get my weight up, and I was like, oh yeah, she drives a car too. Dang.
Now to mention again, just in case people have forgotten, if you also play Mission 3 and Mission 4 on the stage, now in the normal stages for the characters is basically get the chow and basically speedrun the levels faster. But in the routes, it's basically don't hit the cars and don't hit the walls. And it's pretty hard to do when you're trying to go fast as well.
Yeah, when you're trying to go fast, it's challenging AF, that's for sure. And
yes,
the runners are going to hit the walls a couple of times, and Rouge is going to complain about it. She'll be fine.
If you ever watch the 180 on the speed runs that people like Talon does, they actually make it look really easy while going fast. It's actually ridiculous.
And I'm glad someone else said it in chat too. Rouge is complaining. You know, for what it's worth, I would also be upset if I had my own Batmobile and I was scuffing it. These are facts. She got a whole Batmobile. She's got like the crispy white version too. So you know Batman out there seething.
So Hobotech said, when does this become Sonic Racing? Don't you mean Super Sonic Racing?
Oh no.
This car is pretty fly though. Like, I really
it's kind of cute. It's true.
I'm sorry, Hobotech kind of set himself up for that one.
So now we're on another shadow level, and this is where we have the classic Sonic problem that I mentioned in a previous commentation, that Sega loves to just, as the game gets later in, casually decide that you need more platforming. But can you, Dark Ice, explain why we restarted there?
I'm going to be honest, I don't really know, because I never really restarted on this part.
Okay. I just was wondering because I didn't know if it was like a cycle thing or something else. We could ask the runners afterwards.
Yeah, now this is the part where you mentioned they added more platforms. So in the original Dreamcast version, a lot of these pumpkin hills that you saw weren't there, but because of that, we basically skipped most of the level of Skyrail.
And the thing about Skyrail, chat, that you have to understand too is that this is terrifying tech that's being explored here, because these rails are finicky. If you have two rails next to each other, the game will absolutely coin flip on you whether or not you want to switch the rails or just jump off into the oblivion. So this is a lot of precision. There's a lot of deliberate jumping here. There's a lot of calculated momentum. This is actually an extremely technical level that we just saw them blast through.
Yep.
Huh? I also want to take a moment. First and foremost, thank you so much, Superior, for breaking from the race for a hot second to explain that. But I want to explain to chat, too, that was like a rare moment that he could do that because the boss fight he just did was extra boring energy. You literally just are shooting some platforms and you shoot the tanks that are exposed at the end.
Yeah, so there's basically two fights for the A going. There's one for Sonic where you basically have to go on the top of his head and hit the cap. But with Dr. Eggman, you have to shoot at his body into the little cores that keeps him running. You have to shoot those.
And unfortunately, I'll repeat back some of the stuff that Superior just said here in a second. It's another Rouge level. I do want to highlight here really fast. This is where the spelunking levels get really, really brutal because now it's super vertical and it's super spaced out. So the placements of these pieces can literally be on opposite ends of stuff, and it's absolutely brutal. But while they're doing that, we got another Egg Golem fight for you to watch. What Superior was basically saying was that it has a lot to do with these scenes that are playing beforehand. And so it actually does save you some time to restart it and just keep pushing from there, as opposed to in cases where you don't have a scene, it's a 2-second delay. And I'm so sorry, Superior, because I know we're all blasting through stuff quickly, but the TLDR of it is basically, it is faster to do that and then come straight off of a fresh start than a cutscene, than to let the cutscene kind of continue doing its work.
Now, there's actually a gimmick on this level too that's opposite from Meteor Herd. One of the things that if you guys actually paid attention to when he grabbed one of the hints are actually in reverse. So
yes.
How is that? Perfect.
Well, there's also meteors coming down too. That's more of a kind of a thing on Knuckles stage, but you're not really worried about the hints. You're worried different about the planets, the planet gravitation pulling you in, and the fights being the monitors being in reverse.
Long time no see, treasure hunter.
I'm not going to talk about the Rouge and Knuckles fight because the problem is if I talk about it, it's just going to be memes. And there are memes that I don't know if they're appropriate for our channel. So who wants to talk about the fight? Because it's not me.
I will, but talking to you will be a waste of a time. Sorry, you set yourself up for that one.
I can't. Like, this fight is just so goofy to watch. And also, like, there's the lore between Rouge and Knuckles that I'm just like, listen, I just need y'all to go out on like 2 dates and be done with it. Because y'all play too much. Trying to act like you're fighting on some like Bonnie and Clyde stuff. Please stop. And so that fight, you literally just drill down into Knuckles one time and then you just get in his face and keep kicking the crap out of him.
Yeah, if you keep drilling into Knuckles or into Rouge when you're fighting one of them, depending on the story you're playing on, they will just sit there and do nothing. So you can just keep repeating and repeating until they're dead. But enough about the fight. We're on Cosmic Walls, and this basically stage, you basically use the hover and you get more gravity by going up.
Mm-hmm. This level has like an anti-gravity mechanic that is, if you've been using hover appropriately, messes with your brain a little bit. But these runners have been like bold of you to think that we haven't been hovering up this entire time.
And Superior is actually going for one of the skips right now, and I think he got it actually. And there's actually 2 other skips in Cosmic Wall that we don't really go for no more. So there's one where you have to clip out before you get attached onto that little hovering board section. You guys see clip out of there. And there's another one that you have to try to like slide on like this like little rail thing, and it like clips you out somehow. But it's like really, really tight on doing that.
And something else that I kind of want to add on to that is these hover segments are particularly terrifying. And they're terrifying because you're flying out quite literally into the abyss. This isn't the last time we're going to see this type of a skip that we're looking at. And they're so finicky because if you are in the just wrong placement, the game will be like, oh, you're out of bounds and you're going to die. And that's a real thing that can happen to you, is that you can be set up thinking things are fine and you won't know you're dead until the camera magically pans out and you're just flying down to your death.
Or you just hear Eggman scream, no!
Yeah, exactly. So these skips are extremely impressive because they're very, very tricky to pull off with like precise placement and setup. So now we have Melters is getting into kind of a similar area, and it looks like he is also going to be going for the skip. So chat has some time to just kind of vibe out to some music, chill for a second, maybe get yourself a glass of water. Now's a good time to re-up your snacks because we're going to be floating here for a little bit of time.
Hey, Superior, when you have time, because I know you're gonna have some time when you get to the goalpost. How hard would you say the skip is, like for
hang
someone?
on. Well, timeout. Let's make sure they're unmuted first because there was a muting malfunction with the last explanation.
Okay.
Let's get the unmute first. Get set up so that Superior can explain.
All right. Superior's actually coming up close to the end. So if you see those that little platform thing on the top,
Yeah.
you're basically supposed to go down there and supposed to shoot like a drill that's coming after you. But since we're hovering under it, we don't have to really deal with that.
Uh-oh. Looks like we're having a minor tech thing. Please hold for a second, team. All right, and it looks like Superior is unmuted. So, if you want to ask the question and Superior can answer.
Hey, Superior, question. How hard would you say that cosmic wall skip trick is, like, compared to, like, the other two?
Uh-oh. Superior is too jacked in. He's cracked. He's focused.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry, because I was also muted on Discord. So, actually, I would say this skip, there's, like, a few little things in terms of, like, learning where, like, the kill planes are and, like, your kind of visual cues. But the visual cues are actually pretty easy to understand. So, I'd actually say this is probably the easiest of the major skips to learn in the game.
Right.
If there was something that you wanted to learn to say that you knew a speedrunning trick, honestly, this would be a pretty good one to start with. Get the right stuff.
All right. Thank you for that, Superior.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone who wants to learn Dark Story and who wants to try to learn that cosmic wall skip, then there you go. You got your answer.
Now here we have another Tails fight, and it's going to be the same idea. We're going to try and bait them into just standing in the one spot. He might do his super move. He is. We're just going to casually go left. Hardest move to dodge in the game.
Now this fight could actually be hard sometimes too, especially if you're on like a personal best pace, because you got no range. You take more damage, and a lot of things could just go wrong.
So now we're getting to the final level, and then we'll be on the final boss. This skip scares me. I'm just going to say that transparently, because the rails are already finicky, but then setting up this skip actually scares me. And I've seen it done in so many marathons, and I'm like, see, I'm not built like that.
This is actually one of the hardest skips in the game. I think it's harder than the original Final Rush skip.
But again, we've deployed the skip, so now we're just vibing to wait. And we'll know if we're in good shape because we'll see the platform at the bottom that'll have the gold ring spinning on it. And it just showed up, so we're good.
Yep. And before in the past, they did another setup. It was actually a lot harder to do, actually.
I feel like I was watching a lot more Sonic Adventure 2 speedruns when they had an old iteration of it, because I remember seeing people would actually eat dirt, literally, on trying to get that skip, and entire paces would be thrown into the toilet because of it.
Yeah, I remember like you had to like jump off the rail at a certain time, land on a platform rail, then you have to spin dash off that, then go under a kill point, and just have to hope you make it to the end.
Also, we're on the final fight on Superior's screen, so now we're gonna chase down Sonic with our spin dash jumps, and we're literally just gonna spam jump on this punk. Because he can't keep up, because he's a nerd. He's a nerd. You hear that? Sonic's a nerd. Shadow's cooler. You're a freaking nerd. And your shoes don't look nearly as cool. Sorry, I had to talk
stop.
trash.
Without Sonic, we wouldn't even be able to have this game. But anyway, Superior has finished with a time of... Hold on.
So did we call time for Superior? I'll make sure we call time for Superior. And those are facts, though. Without Sonic existing as he does, we would not have the joy that is Sonic Adventure 2. But I am still going to call him a dweeb in that fight because that fight is so goofy. It is so goofy.
Superior finished with a time of 35 minutes and 21 seconds.
All right.
Good stuff, Superior. But Meltzer hit the gold ring.
Mm-hmm. Look at that precision. Didn't even have the course correct. He was like, nah, I know where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm going. Next. All right, so now we're going to have the Sonic fight again on Melter's screen. And again, this fight in particular, I accidentally discovered this strat as a child because I just got tired of doing it. So I just started spamming jump on them. I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah. But the thing is about this, about just doing homing attack on Sonic or Shadow, again, depending on the story you're playing on, you have to be specific. You just don't spam the homing attack on him. You have to wait. When you hit him when he goes into the ball, you have to wait a couple of seconds because if you don't, he's gonna jump and try to block it. And there you go. Meltzer finish.
So there you go. And then it was time on the hit, correct?
Awesome.
We should be. Got time of 35:21 for Superior. I'm waiting for the time on the stream. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how behind we were. So I can't imagine how fast we sounded on chat.
Yep. And we finished with and Meltzer finished with a time of 36 minutes and 43 seconds. Good job to both of our racers. I'm really happy.
Yeah, that was great. That was fun.
That was an awesome race.
Oh my gosh. So we did it. Team, everyone's unmuted. How are we feeling? Did we feel like we went fast? I hope
That
so.
run was really good for me, actually. That was like, that was really close to my PB.
Nice. Love to hear that. Melters, how you feeling?
To get to show off, which is good, and yeah, otherwise pretty happy with how I played.
That's really good. That's really good. I'm proud of both of you on how you guys played. If is there anything you guys want to say?
Any shout outs, love, any of that stuff?
Yeah, if you like Dark Story, you like what you just saw, there's going to be a Dark Story tournament that the community is going to be putting on in October. If you thought to yourself, hey, you want to get your hands dirty, you want to get into this thing, we're here for it and we want to see people in. So if you like what you just saw, think about joining that tournament. We have so much going on already, so that's one shout out that I would make.
What about you, Superior?
Awesome.
Yeah, no, like shout outs to the Stacy people, the Sonic Adventure era community.
Yeah.
It's gonna be holding it. There's also a Hero Story tournament going on like this week as well. It's super sick. Shout outs to all the homies who came through as well, watched and all that. It was a good time.
Awesome. Well,
Yes, you all had a lot of support in chat, so make sure you go back and watch the VOD. It was awesome.
No, I know I watched it live in the stream itself, but I want to watch that back with us commentating because I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and toot everyone on the call's horn. I feel like that was heat. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I feel like that was heat. But yeah, thank you both so much for running. I am very, very happy that y'all submitted for this. You have no idea.
Hey,
and
PT.
I hope to see it. Yes?
You said you're going to rewatch this commentary run, you said?
Uh-huh.
You could say, I guess you can live and learn.
I hate it. I'm getting Ray, cut to commercial. Cut to commercial. I'm not being assaulted like this.
What's wrong?
I'm not being assaulted like this. Oh my God, I'm staying quiet. I'm muting. I'm not even talking no more.
Well, everybody.
Thank you both so much for running.
No problem.
That was awesome.
And thank you.
Race. Oh my goodness.
And thank you to
I really
everyone.
love races and I was back and forth looking at you both like what is happening. And thank you PT and Mr. Dark Ice for your awesome commentary.
Thank you. This is like my second time commentating for Games Done Quick. I did one for Bayonetta 2 back in 2019 at the Awesome Games Done Quick. And I'm really happy to be back on the GDQ channel commentating. This is actually, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit nervous, so I do apologize to the chat about that. But I'm really happy that you guys allow me to commentate and just be with the community again. It's really nice.
I don't have anything additional. Just thank you so much for having me. And thank you to the entire Sonic block for putting your faith in someone who had zero actualized commentary experience to come in and be like, hey, you want to commentate my run? And I loved it. I loved all 3 runs that I got to commentate today. So thank you so much, everybody, for welcoming me in and saying, this nerd says they like Sonic a lot. We'll just put them on the mic.
Great commentating with you, PT.
Oh, it was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Also, I do apologize for the random pauses. My internet was kind of like lagging out a couple of times.
I don't know that anyone noticed.
Oh,
Put
okay.
yourself on blast like this.
Oh, I just. Anyways.
Oh, thanks, y'all.
All right, that was an awesome race. I love speedrunning races. If you're just tuning in, I'm Sprinkle Theory. I'm your host for this evening, and this is Games Done Quick's Juneteenth event. And we have had some amazing Black speedrunners and talent. So we are going to have a spotlight on one of our runners, Peas, in just a few minutes. So you can grab a snack and come back and watch the spotlight.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching the GDQ Juneteenth speedruns here. My name is AshSaidHi and I am here with Peas. And we're here to chat about speedrunning. So let's get to know Peas a little bit better. Peas, tell us a little bit about how you got started in speedrunning.
Sure, Ash. I got started in speedrunning around my early teenage years. I was one of those kids who did a lot of things on YouTube in terms of watching a lot of compilation videos, mainly in Super Monkey Ball. So basically, it was just individual levels, replays of one person trying to get the fastest time or the highest score by doing a lot of stunts, tricks, or skips for that matter. And I wanted to be one of those individuals who like to see how fast I could get on each level. But I just did that mainly off and on because I liked playing Monkey Ball casually at the time. But it wasn't until around late 2019, early 2020, when the Super Monkey Ball community was hosting a Banana Blitz HD race because the game had come out by then. And after commentating and watching a few of my friends just basically struggle through the game, if you will, I was like, how about I try to see if I can push this game as far as it is today, because I had started out by getting the fastest times on quite a few of the levels in the game, but I felt like it was time to finally see how fast I could beat the game with Sonic in Banana Blitz HD.
Yo, that is awesome. What an incredible story. I loved hearing about your origin and how you started speedrunning. So you're going to be speedrunning a little bit later today. Tell us about the games that you'll be doing later.
Oh, I love this. So, the two games that I'll be speedrunning are actually Puyo games. One is Puyo Puyon, or Puyo Puyo 4, because Yon is 4 in Japanese. And the second game is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, but the Sega Game Gear version. Many people know Mean Bean Machine through the Genesis version or the one boss in Sonic Mania, but if you play Sonic Mega Collection Plus, or you basically wanted to 100% Sonic Adventure DX for bragging rights, you actually unlocked the 8-bit version of Mean Bean Machine. And the only difference between that and the Genesis version is that the drop speed is much slower, and the AI is a bit easier, but I guess it kind of makes up for the fact that the drop speed being just being a little bit slower, and which would make it a bit more difficult to control.
Gotcha. So going into a speed run like this, are the pieces truly RNG random? Like, how do you account for that kind of thing in the game when you're speed running a game like that?
So I believe before Puyo Puyo 2, so basically Puyo Puyo 1, the pieces were severely RNG. So you didn't know which pieces you got first, and but I guess this is because Puyo Puyo was meant to be more of a casual playthrough at first, but then as the Japanese scene became more popular with the Puyo Puyo series, the developers decided to make the first two pieces. It's still RNG, but
Yeah.
after you get your first two pieces, that can really set the tone of what you're going to build and how you're going to extend your chains and then set them off.
Gotcha. So, do you have any strategies that you need to think about later on today for your run? Like, is there something that you need to focus on to make sure that this is like one of the best runs you've ever done?
Yeah, I need to make sure that color management is basically of utmost priority because the game's RNG is designed to screw you over. So if you make one misdrop, you can basically be scrambling for pieces, losing a bunch of time, and then the AI can just hit you with a random power 2 chain, and you basically just top out, and you're just sad.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm wishing you all the good luck for that run later today. That sounds really awesome. And thanks for sharing a little bit about your strategy and how you think about that game. One thing I want to ask you, because you have 9 world records in Monkey Ball and you're an incredible speedrunner, what are some of your favorite games to run, and what's it like to have a world record? What did that feel like to get your first world record?
So my favorite games to speedrun are obviously Monkey Ball, Marble Rollers, but I also like to dabble in a little bit of Mario Kart and of course Puyo. It's because I like games that have a challenge, and basically some games that really don't have that much competition. I think out of all the games that I run, I believe Mario Kart has the most competition because everyone loves Mario Kart, everyone plays the game. But in the case of Monkey Ball, it's more the lines of there are just so many different games that I can just put some time into, and some of the times I'll be able to get a world record, and or a lot of the times I'll just want to go for a top 10 time just to solidify myself as one of the best runners. And on that topic of the feeling of getting a world record, it just feels like you have something to prove, or you accomplish something aside from basically passing all your classes in grade school.
I love that comparison. It's like, I did this really awesome thing in school, now I did this really awesome thing in speed running. I am accomplished. I know what I'm doing here. That is really, really awesome. I love it. I love that. So I know that as a speedrunner, right, it's always, what am I going to do next? How am I going to better myself? How do you see yourself pushing your speedrunning career forward?
Good question. Recently, I attended SGDQ 2023 as an attendee, and I just saw a lot of good friends and a lot of good runs just being played on the stage. So, and I thought to myself, well, it doesn't really matter like how popular the game is. It's all in the means of how you can present it. I'm all for basically like giving a presentation about how hard I have worked at something, and I want to share that with the world.
Yeah.
So how I intend to improve is that I just I try to look for games that don't have that much popularity, but I can make it look like a really good speed run either way.
I love that. I love that strategy. You know, go for a game that maybe not a lot of people know about or doesn't have enough love or enough running, and you can kind of make it your own and kind of set the tone and the pace for that new speed run, or, you know, that new thing that you want to accomplish. I really love that strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Thank you so much, Peas, for taking time to share a little bit about yourself and share a little bit about what you love to speed run. Is there anything else out there you want to tell all the speedrunners of the world?
Sure. Perfect practice makes perfect. The one reason why a lot of the speedrunners tend to get burnt out a lot more easily, myself included, is because we try to push ourselves a little bit too hard without trying to find that way to perfectly practice the one thing that we want to get better at. So take breaks. I need to do that myself. And take care of yourself, because doing a speed run is so mentally taxing that it's so much easier to run out of ideas and develop massive imposter syndrome. But know that you are valid and that you are good at what you do, and just remember that perfect practice makes perfect.
I love that. Thank you. I think that's a lesson for life in general too, Always make sure to take care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't run. That is such great advice. Thank you so much, Peas. I really love getting to know you better. We're going to take a small break after this, and we're going to set up for the next run, which is The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, All Essences by Ryan Ford. Peas, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ash.
All right, everyone. We'll see you in a few minutes.